Don't worry, it's not starting all over again. My bad. Oh, it is starting all over again. What is going on here? Go away. It's been that kind of day, guys. It has been that kind of day. Hang on one second. I'm noticing my light is a little bit dark. Hang on. It's been exactly that kind of day. We got to the game late. Scott plays 2K. What's up, man? I nearly just dropped a mug. Now the lighting is too bright. I'm in disarray. I'm in complete disarray. But I just came back from the game and it was very interesting to watch. I did something very cool. I'm going to tell you about it in one sec. Hang on. All right. Is that a little bit better? That's a little bit better. You should. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so I did something very cool at the game today. I figured, you know what? Bradley Beal's not playing. Kyle Kuzma's not playing. This is probably not going to be a competitive game, right? So what I decided to do was decided to create some content. That's what I do, right? I mean, I'm a content creator. So I decided to create, I think, what could possibly be like a week worth of content. And I just wish that the game was a slightly better game, but I think it was just a perfect example of what I wanted to show. First of all, I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan just fell off of Jurassic Park. He did. I set up a I set up a new Erica's correct. These videos are gonna be cool. Initially, I was just trying to airdrop everything and get everything ready, but we had subway delays getting back in, so unfortunately couldn't get that uploaded. I was going to show you guys a preview. Basically, our night was super interesting. We were gifted G Box tickets. There was an open contest to anyone who wanted to guess the right player, and I promised I was going to give the tickets, and no one guessed it. So I drew a second name, and then no one guessed that. The two names of favorite players, Roko Leniukic. I've mentioned him like 10 times. I'm surprised no one said it because Scott 2K, I swear you had like 20 guesses and it feels like I was so sure you were going to get it, but you didn't. And then the other name was Sean Marion. I'm a big Sean Marion fan. I can't believe you guys wouldn't know that. But anyway, so I ended up going with my girlfriend. Initially, I wasn't going to go. I was going to try to give the tickets away or, gift them off or sell them or something. I wasn't really feeling it. I was really tired, didn't sleep very much last night. And I didn't really know what to expect going to the G box. I don't know. Has anyone been to the Gondola box at the Scotiabank Arena? It was so cool, man. I gotta tell you, I honestly wasn't expecting this. And thank you so much. Shout outs to Adam Daniel Mazet for gifting these tickets, man. Super cool. First of all, such an awesome vantage point to see the game. It's straight down, like right center court, straight down. You've got this incredible vantage view, not to mention free popcorn, free pizza. I feel like I put on 150 pounds at this game. Free hot dogs, a free beer. Yo, I mean, this is the life. This is the life, right? You're close to St. Marion. Yes. Well, you should have. Because yeah, I was like, man, no one's gonna get Rocco, so I let it be Marion. But anyways, it was super cool, and it's such a great way to see the entire court in a way that you really can't. And to be honest, I've sat in various places at the Scotiabank Arena and the Air Canada Center previously, and every time I sit in a new area of the court, you see something completely different in this game, and you realize just how complex the game can be when you watch it from different angles, right? If you could watch it straight from the top down, like you were suspended from the Raptors and you were just like looking at the game from the top, I think you would see this entirely differently. And I think basketball changes depending on where you see it from. So I decided to do something cool today. I just wanted to say that I'm a really big Jeff Dowtin fan, and I was very excited that, he got some run. And I was excited, that Scottie Barnes is coming back and that I was able to cheer for him and support for him in the middle of eating all my popcorn and pizza and recording all this stuff when I could clap my hands, I would for him. But such a cool vantage point to see the game from. And so what I did was I played a game with myself to entertain myself during a blowout, which was called the Jeff Dowtin experiment. So here's what I did. I simply tracked Jeff Dowtin for like 20 possessions, back, forth, offense, defense, offense, defense. I just wanted to see him. It's fantastic. You miss so much on television, and frankly, most of us when we go to a live game, we're either distracted, we're talking to somebody, whatever, or the ball is a constant distraction. I think very few people, if anyone, is just going to sit there at a game and just watch Jeff Dowtin. I think it's the coolest thing ever. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to track his possessions with Fred VanVleet, because Fred VanVleet and Jeff Dowtin played some minutes together, I believe in the third quarter, early fourth. And then I wanted to track his possessions when Scottie Barnes came in. And I wanted to show you just as a random experiment. I promise I picked Jeff Dowtin at random, even though he's one of my favorite players. Just picked him at random, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I just wanted to see. It was a random experiment to see how he operates off the ball when these two different players have the ball, and I think it was just mind blowing, just in that small sample size, how much differently he moves, how differently he runs, how differently he gaps, what places he occupies on the court when Fred has the ball versus when Scottie has the ball. Now let's talk about the game. Beyond the gondola box and me getting fat on popcorn and pizza and all that stuff. Um, Team stats like O.G Anunoby, I was pretty sure OG was headed for a 50 piece, and then Fred happened. But to be honest, like he could have done it, and if he was a slightly more selfish player, he would have done it. The Raptors, as usual, get their 12 rebounded, 12 shot attempt advantage over their opponent. They shoot slightly better than the Washington Wizards, who were missing two of their better scorers in Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. And frankly, I just didn't like what a lot of the other players on the team brought. Um, there's just it's just pretty obvious that this team is trying to lose at this point, to be honest. And Kristaps Porzingis, just he's so talented. It's really it's a pleasure to watch him play basketball. Denny Avdia, one of my favorite players. Honestly, that fast break that he had, oh my gosh, like big time playmakers. Good defenders. I love Denny Avdia, and it was really a pleasure to see him play live as well. Um, the Raptors barely get to the line, 13 for 16. They win the rebounding battle. Not an easy task with Daniel Gafford and Kristaps Porzingis in there, but kudos to Jakob Poeltl for his 12 rebounds and a contribution on that end. The Raptors had quite a few turnovers from some uncharacteristic names, namely Pascal Siakam. I guess he's high turnover guy, but Jakob Poeltl with 3 turnovers was kind of strange. The Raptors lead in fast break points. Yeah, and they pretty much led wire to wire. This game was not really close, and in the first half things were going so well. And I got to tell you, in the middle of recording all this stuff, I kind of lost sight of the score because my Jeff Dowtin experiment really absorbed my mind. And I was like, man, I've just been watching this guy go up and down the court, 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 and not touch the ball. What the hell is going on here? He doesn't move. He doesn't like he's wide open. He's not like demonstratively calling for it. And the next thing I look, like this blowout lead is like 3 points. And I was just like, oh, I get it. So while I was watching Jeff Dowtin, Fred VanVleet happened. So now I need to go back and watch the game to see what happened on the court when I was zoned in on Jeff Dowtin, and I think I'm gonna find that I'm gonna probably cry. Sorry about that, guys. Usually I clear up the previous lives stuffs, but I have 3 lives worth of stuff here. Okay. In terms of the Wizards contributions, Corey Kispert, 19 points, sharpshooter, had 5 3-pointers. The Raptors do give up some threes there. Kristaps Porzingis, if you took the under 27 points tonight, good for you. 26 points for Kristaps Porzingis and Denny Avdia, like just a really well-rounded game. I'm a really big fan of his, and I think he was just solid. Um, Man, like it is really hard to figure out what Johnny Davis does well at times, but it was really nice to see him get 30 minutes tonight. I mean, he was pretty efficient. I think the defense was a little suspect, but 15 points, they spent the lottery pick on him and then they spent the entire year burying him on the bench. So it's nice to see him get minutes. And for the Raptors, big 29 points for O.G Anunoby. He really got them off to the right start in the beginning. It was tough. It was efficient. It was in rhythm. He was just great. And Scottie was really looking for him. And it seems like everyone was looking for him until they weren't. Scottie Barnes, tough game. honestly, tough game. He had that really nasty turnover, but I think he tried. Like he tried really hard tonight. I think he competed on defense. It's a very. I'll share an interesting observation about halftime with Scottie and Fred afterwards. But 13 points, again, good good for a comeback. And Fred VanVleet, 28 points. He really started to look for his at the end of the second and towards the third. And in the first half, it was so beautiful to watch. Scottie had the ball, Fred was playing off the ball, OG was scoring, Pascal was involved. The ball was the ball was just humming, and it was so beautiful because it was like, I don't know if this is because they're facing the Wizards or if it's because Fred's finally bought in, but this is the Raptor team that I came to see. They were guarding, they were moving the ball. There was like a real sense of they're going to let the defense decide who's going to take this shot. And far too often the defense just left O.G Anunoby for a three, and he was taking it and making it. And it was great to watch. And you're just watching Fred, and I'm like, oh man, Fred VanVleet, 3 points. Fred VanVleet, 4 points. Is he really going to let himself have like a 10 to 12 shot attempt night? Nope. Wasn't going to happen. Hit a couple, and then boom, he decided to just go for his. And plus minus is misleading, man. He has plus 11 tonight, but honestly, he was on the court for the worst stretch of basketball in this game, in my opinion. And it was just back and forth, back and forth. They score three, Raptors score zero. They score two, the Raptors score one. They score three, and then it's just like quick, 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 and the lead just gets chiseled away, chiseled away. And that third quarter disaster, I think, really does a lot of it falls down on Fred, in my opinion. Um, in terms of other contributions, of course, solid Jakob Poeltl. I think his shot attempts have been down a little bit since that really big 18 attempt night. He had 2 last game, 9 this game. I think this is probably more in line with what you can expect from him going forward, but really selfless guy, and I really like what he brings to the team. Pascal Siakam, not a good game, not a bad game, just kind of a, you know, eh, average game. He really had a slow start. I think he had 0 points through much of the first quarter until he got that fast break dunk. So, he kind of let the game come to him today. He didn't force anything, and honestly, I much preferred this version of Siakam than the, I'm going to take everything come hell or high water. He did force some shots for sure, but I think whatever. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Pascal Siakam to be honest, but it is not surprising to me, that he's the only starter in the negatives in terms of plus minus. Will Barton did not start. Hallelujah, Scottie Barnes. Unfortunately, Will Barton, after 4 minutes, he did come up gimpy and he did leave the game. And I don't remember him coming back in the second half. So, granted, I did not watch the broadcast. Some people did message me while I was at the game and told me that Alvin Williams compared Fred VanVleet to Dr. J. Can someone please confirm in the comments that this is true? Did they really say this? Also, the Wizards broadcast spent much of the night talking about how Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam do not fit and how the organization, if they want Scottie to take the next step, they're going to have to move off of Pascal or to make a decision or whatever. And I think, honestly, we'll talk about that as well. There was also a report today that the Raptors could be interested in Ime Udoka, and frankly, we're going to talk about that as well. Um, let's bring on our first caller, James, and then we'll get to some of the subtopics. James, what's up?
Hey, Robert.
How are you
Um,
doing?
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
So, signing Barton, it was somewhat of a good move at the time.
Why do you
And,
think that?
well, we needed more shooting.
Sure.
And,
Okay.
I mean, everybody knows we needed more shooting. But, and then he gets hurt. I didn't know he was 32 years old. And I don't get Masai's vision because he said he wants to do nothing but win, and
Mm-hmm.
then he signs a couple of 32-year-olds that are way past his prime.
You
Their
think
prime.
32 is past their prime? I mean, Will Barton is past his prime, but it's not because he's 32. And
Is it?
honestly, I mean, look, you can't have everybody in their prime. Sometimes you do need to have vets past their prime. I mean, you look at championship teams. How often do they have vets that are past their prime? Was Dwight Howard past his prime when the Lakers won the championship? Yes.
Yeah,
Was Marc
yeah,
Gasol past his prime when the Raptors won the championship? Yes,
probably. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Marc Gasol's prime was Defensive Player of the Year. Controversial win, but nevertheless. Danny Green was past his prime when the Raptors won a championship.
yeah,
Jeremy Lin was past his prime. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You need a healthy mix of veterans. You need blue chip prospects.
yeah,
Ideally, guys who can develop and who could maybe be role players if you get injured. And you need veterans who are like, I mean, Udonis Haslam. Udonis Haslam has seen how many how many playoff games over the last 15, 16 years with the Miami Heat. So look, you,
yeah,
you need stability in your locker room. I think what we're seeing with Boston right now, what we're seeing with Dallas, I mean, you need vets. You need vets. You need guys who can sort of organize the troops a little bit, talk to guys when things are falling off the rails. And I find that very often when teams go through extended droughts of chemistry, that's usually when, the vets aren't doing their job.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, any thoughts on tonight's game?
yeah. So Alvin Williams really did say that Fred Van Vliet, uh, he was reminded by Dr. J, or uh,
So let me clarify this.
yeah,
So the exact thing was that last game, I was very upset that Alvin Williams compared Fred Van Vliet to Tyrese Halliburton.
uh, God.
And that was offensive to me.
Yeah,
Honestly, I take offense as a sensible person. That's crazy to me. Now he's doubled down by calling Fred Van Vliet Dr. J esque. Now, what did he say? From what I gathered, what he said was many years ago, parents would want their kids to be like Dr. J, and years from now, people will want their kids to be like Fred Van Fleet.
yeah.
Is that the quote?
I mean, yeah, basically, yeah.
I just want to state for the record that I do not want my I do not want my unborn child to be like Fred Van Fleet. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Wow. Yikes.
And do you think Fred Van Vliet will stay past this year?
I really don't think so, man. No, I don't.
No. What
No, I'm
about
I'm getting a feeling.
Pascal?
I think he will. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Pascal will stay. I think OG will stay. I think Fred will leave. It's just a feeling that I get just from looking at the team, and specifically today I was watching the team, and at halftime it was very interesting to just observe who talks to who and who's communicating with who on the court. It's very interesting to watch, and I think most of us just assume that Fred and Pascal and Fred and Jakob, this is just a thing, and
yeah,
I don't think it is. I think there's like some chemistry obviously that exists and familiarity and maybe some mutual respect. But I gotta tell you, man, like Scottie and Pascal, Scottie and Jakob, they seem to have a
yeah,
great connection, great vibe going right now. It's Fred who seems to be sort of disconnected from everybody. It's just a feeling I have from
yeah,
watching it up close. I observed it a lot and I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like you get a feeling when you if you've played competitive sports, when two guys are having good discussions when the cameras are off and when they're
yeah,
having tough discussions when the cameras are off, right? Like, I'll give you an example. When I was playing basketball, granted, not on the NBA level or any, super high level, but when I was
yeah,
playing basketball, like, if we would have like tension in the locker room between me and this other dude, if he would try to, tell me about some coverage that I missed on the game, in the game, like my body language would tell you that I'm not fucking with this guy. Like I would be looking in another direction while he was talking to me. I'd be like kind of like just I'd be trying to get the conversation over with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That body language is so apparent on this team in so many ways. But like when you watch OG and Scottie talking, or when you watch Scottie and Jakob talking, or when you watch Jeff Dowtin and OG talking, or even when you watch Pascal and Jakob talking, there
yeah,
seems to be a let's figure this out together vibeness. I didn't really see that vibe between Fred and anybody other than maybe Malachi tonight. It was very interesting to watch. Maybe Fred and Boucher as well. So yeah, those guys seem to be like, yeah. Look, we've heard rumors all year about,
Yeah.
there being sort of cliques in the locker room. And I think when you really watch the games a couple of times live, especially when you start honing in on who's constantly talking to who's constantly looking away from who it's really showing you just in terms of chemistry, like what's really happening between these guys. Um, so yeah, I think Fred would be the odd man out personally. But yeah. Any final takeaways there?
Um, no, I wanted to call in and
Are you
I've
first time
seen,
caller?
yeah, first time. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. We had a caller, Tank Commander. Man, I want to hear from you. But you've come in and you've gone and you've come in and you've gone. So we're going to move over to Daryl. And if you decide to come back, please just stick around and we'll get to you. Daryl, what up, man?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I'm envious. You got to go to the game. And did you honestly say you weren't feeling like you were going to go to the game?
Yeah, man. Look, okay, so here's what happened. I've been sort of, let's just put it, slacking. And so last night I made a list, and this is just a productivity hack for anybody. And by the way, I can't see you right now. I'm pretty sure your camera's on, but for some reason I can't see you. So you're like John Cena right now. I can't see
Really?
you.
Yeah, my camera's
Yeah.
on, man. I can
Yeah,
see
yeah, no,
myself.
I'm
Do you want
sure,
me
I'm
to turn?
sure, I'm sure everybody else can see you,
Yeah.
but
All
I
right.
can't see you for whatever reason. Like
All
I
right. All right.
probably have to leave and come back or something. But anyways, did I just do the John Cena thing? Yes, I did. You can tell I've been listening to Show Majazi. So yeah, so there's a productivity hack that I figured out, which is I'm obsessed with chess. So what I do is I write down like 12 things that I have to do, and in order to play chess, I have to do one of those things, and then I can play a game of chess. And so I ended up doing like all 12 things, but then I looked up and it was 10 a.m. and I hadn't slept yet. So I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Do I really, want to sleep for 3, 4 hours, get ready for this game, and then go to the game on so little sleep, and then do a live stream either from the game, if they'll let me check in on the laptop, they did not, and or do you know what I mean? Like I was just like, and if Scotty's not gonna play, yeah, yeah, I was like honestly on the fence about going.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
But once
I
we were
guess
en route, once we were en route,
and
is it en route or en route? Once we were en route, I think it's en
on
route.
en
Once
route.
we were en route, yeah, I checked Underdog NBA, and it said Scotty Barnes wrist will play, and I screamed so loud, and there were people around. I was like, "Hallelujah!" It was really funny, and
Yeah.
my girlfriend's just like, "Well, you seem way more excited to go now," and I was just
Hmm.
like, yeah, of course. And she's like, you're more excited to see Scotty play than you are to go with me to the game. And I was like, yeah, it's not even close. Like, did she think this was a competition or something? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, watching my favorite player play or watching you eat popcorn? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the former. But it was really cool to watch him. I didn't think he had a great game. What'd you think?
Yeah, I was really hoping for Scotty to have a big game just because of fantasy basketball. No, I mean, no, okay. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
You
Not
said what
just
you
because.
said, man. You said what
No,
you
you're
said.
right. Yeah, I'm on record,
You
man.
said
That's
what you
that's
said.
never that's never going away now. It's on the internet. Great.
Oh
Um,
man.
I mean, I had that extra motivation because it's the playoffs in the fantasy
Right.
league right now, and he basically it was down to the wire with this other guy that I'm up against head to head, and I needed Scotty to have a big game. I needed it, and he did not. But
He
no,
let
but
you
like you said, he
down.
tried. It's all right. It's all right.
You know
Like
what? It's not as bad as what Pascal did. So
yeah.
I had a parlay bet, um, which I hit every single leg except for Pascal over 21 points. Do you know that? Do you know what the odds were on the parlay
No,
bet?
probably pretty low.
282 to 1.
And you hit.
282 to 1. I got
That's good.
everything but Pascal over 21 points. Can you believe that? Like everything from Corey Kispert hitting three or more threes,
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis being under 27 points. Dude, I nailed the whole freaking thing. and I'm just watching, and I'm sitting there like, come on, please shoot, Pascal. And I was just like, man, this is changing my life, because I don't think I've ever sat there and wished for Pascal to shoot the basketball as much as I did tonight. But he would not oblige. He would not oblige.
Can you imagine how much more of a fan you would have been if he'd gotten you that?
Yo, okay, so I want to I want to share a really funny story. So okay, so you know that nobody won the contest, right? So
Yeah.
I decided to put the tickets up for sale tentatively for about 10 minutes, and before I changed my mind. And someone messaged me and they said, I don't have money, but I have something that would be of great interest to you. Do you know what they offered me?
No, what's that?
A signed Fred VanVleet basketball.
That's got to be a troll job, man. That's got to
No,
be a troll
it
job.
wasn't. It wasn't. And I said, I'm sorry, cash only. I'm not a Fred VanVleet fan.
Oh my word, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, man.
I
If I were
should've
you, I would have taken it though. If I were you, I would have taken it just to do something funny. Like that's content right there for
Why?
your. I don't know. You could have made some hilarious video of you like playing on the court with the Fred VanVleet basketball and like
Why would I?
jacking up shots from everywhere.
Okay, so I have something fun to show you guys. Hang on one sec. This basketball was signed by, hold on, Allen Houston.
Nice.
Yeah. And then
Back when you were in New York, I assume.
this actually 2000-ish. Yeah. So what's funny is there's a little bit of wear and tear on this basketball because my ex-girlfriend decided to play basketball outside with an indoor leather basketball.
Yes. Good choice.
I will never forget it.
Yeah.
The horror on my face as I saw this ball, this pristine basketball. It's an official NBA basketball. Back when it was Spalding, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's like such a cool thing. So I decided, hey, doing a basketball live stream every single night, why not put the basketball behind you? So
great idea.
I'm
Too bad
becoming
you can
a
never
bit of
do
a
it.
basic bitch. That's Eric is like, that's why she's an ex now. Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yikes. Too bad. Now you can never display your potential Fred VanVleet signed ball. That ship has sailed, sadly.
I don't know if it's possible to flush a basketball down the toilet, but I would have like pretty quick. Anyways, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I mean kudos to that person for offering that up, but yeah, I just wasn't interested. And honestly, like the tickets were a gift, and I was like, you know what, get over it. You know, like you can sleep later. And honestly, I looked up tickets for the Heat and the Bucks. Oh my god. Oh my god, the prices. Yo, my mind was blown.
What do you mean? Are they low?
They're so high.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, the Heat makes sense, sort of, because Kyle Lowry's return, and the Bucks, I believe, is the last game of the season, or one of the last games, or last home game of the season. Yo, 300 leveled seats, and I was looking at it, and it was like $180, $200. I was like, what? Yo, I like Kyle Lowry, but I don't like Kyle Lowry $200 to sit in nosebleeds levels.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
I was like, I don't know about
crazy.
that, man.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that being tired and stuff makes you kind of saps your motivation, but I can't relate because honestly, like I would move heaven and earth just to go to like a Taiwan P League game, like to go to the chance to go to a Raptors game, man. I mean, even if I'd been up 3 nights in a row, I'd still make it happen, man. I'd go. That's me though. I'm a bit basketball starved. I haven't been to a live game in way too long. So.
Well, I mean, you know, live exhibition has never really been like, it's not like I go to like all the lives or anything like that. Hang on, I'm gonna pull myself off and then pull myself back on.
How's that?
Okay, that works. That works.
All right, good.
Okay, perfect.
Do you want to hear something? Do you want to hear something crazy? During the game, an Alvin Williams quote, not the Dr. J one, but
there's another one.
Oh, there's another one, man. Alvin Williams took a low key dig at Scottie. You remember that Denny Avdia pass, little flick behind pass thing, that fast break there where
Mm-hmm.
Avdia did that nice little pass. Alvin Williams followed that up by saying something like, "Now that's the real Magic Johnson," something like that. He used the word "real Magic Johnson" after Avdia did that, and I was just, my first thought was like, "That's a dig at Scottie right there."
Honestly, man, like these people, they all speak in codes. They all speak in
Yeah.
code. They speak code speak. It's a, and it's not a difficult code to crack. This is not the Da Vinci Code. Okay, this is not some. You got to go to the Vatican. You got to like swim under the turtles or something. You don't have to. You don't have to think too much to crack the code that these guys are trying to spell. It's very obvious. Fred VanVleet is a point guard. Scottie Barnes is not a point guard. That's what they want to convey to you, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so it's so aggressive in their messaging consistently throughout. Like if you've ever wanted to be brainwashed, I don't know who would want to be brainwashed. Go watch a Raptors game. It's crazy. And I'll tell you tonight, I can't even tell you that Fred VanVleet drove me insane tonight. It sucked that the team was, losing as he was jacking up shots, but it wasn't as annoyed as I would have been had I watched it on television,
It
because I
was
didn't need
annoying
to
on
listen
TV.
to the
Yeah.
second part of the annoyance. If I could just watch Fred VanVleet with it's just bad basketball and it's fine. But no, what makes it worse, and I think, sometimes I come into these lives spitting fire and I'm so mad. And I think 90% of my frustration is not even with Fred VanVleet. It's how disingenuous the commentators are about what he's doing, because you go listen to another commentator, and like literally, like what I would love to do is take three broadcasts, the other team's broadcast, our broadcast, and maybe a national broadcast once, and just show you how a play was called three different times by three different groups of people, and they're all covering it, they're all seeing it, they're all literally sitting next to each other, but they all have a completely different I guess, agenda. But I mean, like, you can tell, like, one person has a very clear agenda and two people are just trying to call the game the best they can. Like Antonio Daniels for the New Orleans Pelicans, if Dyson Daniels makes a mistake or Zion makes a mistake, he has no problem calling it out and be like, that was probably not a very good basketball play. Uh, No, not these guys. No, 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 no. Fred VanVleet could dribble the ball off his foot. It would be a conspiracy against the floor. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. No, I hear you. And honestly, like, has Alvin Williams even heard of Denny Avdia before this game? Like, to call him Magic Johnson, like, probably not. But
Honestly, I'm a big Denny
yeah,
Avdia fan.
me too, actually.
I'm glad he gave him his flowers. And honestly, that pass was incredible.
It
The
was.
it
I've
was
been a huge Avdia fan since like 6 or 8 months before the draft, before the 2020 draft. I was a big fan of his.
Really.
Actually, I remember reading an article there was real talk of the Warriors picking him with the second pick, like 6 or 8 months before the draft, and then Wiseman obviously kind of went
He's a
up,
way
and then
better player than James Wiseman. I'll tell you
I know.
that
Can
much
you
right now.
imagine? Like, I think the Warriors would be way better off if they had picked him.
They would be.
And imagine his development curve would have gone. I think he would have been a better player too if the Warriors had picked him.
100%, man.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah. Anyway, any final thoughts on this game?
Yeah, man. Have you ever really paid attention to the way Nasir Little plays basketball? Like, just to watch him. I was watching the Portland game, and it's like watching Pascal Siakam play. They look the same when they play. Like, the footwork is the same, the posture is the same, the way they get shots up is the same, the movement is the same. Like, honestly, I couldn't believe it. Like, I've watched him play lots, but I've never really noticed it. But it could have been Pascal out there playing on the floor today in that game. It was
Really?
crazy. Yeah, like, if you pay close attention, you'll see what I mean. It was really weird. And I liked Shaden Sharp's game. Did you take a look at Shaden Sharp's game today? Ooh,
What did he do?
wow. He went he shot like, I don't know, like 15 for 18 or something in this game.
What?
And no, he's just been, and every single thing, it was like with authority. He threw down some huge dunks. He was like, I don't know, man. He looks good. Maybe Portland's last 4 or 5 games, Shaden Sharp looks legit. Legit.
Damn. Well, I've heard some clips from Dame Lillard kind of saying, like, hey, it's difficult to be excited about the future or whatever, but hopefully he can change his mind about that. I know maybe, with all the losing in Portland, maybe he's kind of seeing it as, hey, do I really have time for this guy to develop? But I don't know. I think it's important for teams to balance that out. Um, What do you think of the Okay, well, what do you think of the Raptors potentially signing Ime Udoka? Because it came out today that the Raptors and the Rockets might be looking at Ime Udoka this offseason. And I've known
Yeah,
for a while that Ime and Masai have known each other. I knew this even back in 2009 that they were acquainted with each other. And I had met Ime Udoka back then. He looks so different. He was much more slim, and I guess he was just either he was just retired. I think he was just retiring, or he was still like in the process of retiring around then. Anyways, very impressive individual Ime Udoka was, and I think there might be some smoke here.
honestly, my take on it is like I've always been a give a guy a second chance kind of mentality, and I don't like mixing personal things with professional things. So from that standpoint, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like let the basketball talent speak for itself. Let the coaching talent speak for itself. Like there's a lot of
Right.
guys like can you imagine if all the stories about players and their bedroom indiscretions got out into the public? Like we would have to
Yeah, for
hate
sure.
every single player in the NBA almost, right?
Yo,
Like
honestly, if there's ever gonna be a group of 14 or 15 individuals who can be sympathetic to a guy who cheated on his girl, even if that girl was Nia fucking Long, oh my god,
I
oh
know,
my
right? I know.
god,
I mean, sitting on the couch here as an average Joe, it's easy to judge the guy, but you're right. Like,
Lisa, Lisa from fucking Fresh Prince. That's like my
how could
childhood
he do it,
crush,
man?
man.
How could he? How could he? But I mean, that,
I feel like doing a Will Smith, Mama, no. God
so
damn
I
it.
don't know. Like from
Anyway,
that,
I feel bad, but I'm saying like if there's
yeah,
ever a group of 16 guys who could be sympathetic to someone cheating on their woman, it's 16 NBA players. No offense.
100%
So,
agree.
yeah, I don't think he's going to lose anyone's locker room, and I honestly think he would command a lot of respect coming in.
I do too. And
And
I mean,
yeah,
Even the Boston players, you heard what Smart and those guys were saying. Like they were still firmly behind him, and they couldn't understand why he had been suspended. So, like, I
it's
think from a
Boston.
yeah, I know, but so like
You get the context of what I'm saying? It's Boston.
no,
Boston's Boston. Boston's
no,
going
you're
to be
right.
Boston, and I've always been
That's
critical of
it. Yeah.
Boston for Boston being Boston.
The way they run things. Yeah. So I guess
Well,
like from
no, it's not the Celtics. I'm saying
it's
it's
the city.
Boston.
Yeah.
Let what I'm saying right now resonate with anyone who understands what I mean by what I'm saying. It's Boston. This is like my version of the Allen Iverson rant. Practice, it's Boston. Okay, yeah.
I'm
I
actually I'm from Boston.
No, you're not.
I am. I was born in Boston.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Moved away when I was 2. I'm Canadian. I was born to 2 Canadian parents and raised in Canada, but I was actually born in Boston. Yeah. But I'm not a fan of the city or the sports teams, just to be clear.
Yeah. Um. Amin gets it. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. That's exactly it. Um.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Eric, Erica plays for sure. The chances of that. Wow. I did not know that. I did not know that about you, but that's pretty
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
I,
It's
I
a
like
it's a
you. I like you exactly 4% less now. By the way, just
well,
just so we're on the
as you
record,
should. Only 4%. I'll take it. I'll take it.
4% less.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very high to
Yeah.
begin with, so it's just. I'm just kidding. Um, it's look. I clutch Tatum. Yes. How do you feel about Boston, yo?
Oh, I hate
Um,
the Bruins more than anything in my life. I hate the Bruins more than any ex-girlfriend I've ever had.
wow. I don't hate any of Max's. Wait, is that even true? Hold on, let me check. No, I don't hate any of Max's. Rob, would you rather have Ime or Jason Kidd? I know Ime better coach, but with the baggage and everything, yo, Google Jason Kidd baggage. See what you find. Like, yo,
Jason Kidd, absolutely. Great
wow.
point. Great point.
Like, shit. Let it float. Let it pass over. I think. Look, I was a really big fan of Ime Udoka last year. It broke my heart to see, that the shit came out that he did it. Fine. Obviously sleeping with a dude's wife is not gonna. I think there's so many things to discuss about that, and I swear when he gets hired, we'll talk about it. But like that shit happens all the time. I'm not defending it one way or the other, but people sleep with people's, significant others all the time.
Yeah,
It's literally what
and
Ashley Madison
that's
is. It's an entire
literally like,
website about that. So
as much as we hear it, that's only the tip of the iceberg of what's actually we're not hearing about. So
yeah,
exactly, he just happened to get caught.
yeah.
What did you think, like live, being there in person, of that in the early fourth when Fred and Pascal were on the bench? That 5-man unit of Dowtin and Scottie and OG and Chris
I
Boucher and
recorded almost
Koloko.
every second of it. It was great.
Yeah, as
It was
soon as they put
great.
that guy, as soon as they put that out there, I was just like, I love this. Like, how are the Wizards going to score? This is how you protect a lead when you put in a lineup like that. And then in the first possession, they completely blow a shot clock violation, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it's okay, it's okay. I hope that they keep them out there, and they did. And I was just screaming. I was like, let them finish the game. Like, there's no reason to bring the other guys back in, because these guys are what you need to protect a lead in the fourth. That's exactly what you need. And the
Yeah.
defense was incredible. Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
Koloko, man, like I loved watching him do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Daryl, for
Yep.
coming on, and I hope you do get to attend the Raptors game really soon, man.
Man, I would love it. Teacher Mike and I have been planning on going to a Taiwan League game, and because we have families with young kids, it just hasn't lined up. We haven't been able to make it work.
Line it
We want
up.
to go. We're gonna line it up, man.
Go
We're gonna line it up.
Go support. I don't know.
Jeremy Lin, man. We're gonna go see Jeremy Lin play.
Oh, that's
he plays
sick.
in my hometown. He plays in my hometown team. So
That's sick, man.
yeah.
Yo, shout outs to Jeremy Lin. He's awesome.
Shout outs. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
See you next time. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. All right. Thanks for waiting. Tank Commander, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? Is the audio clear?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I watched this game today,
Mhm.
and I just felt like I wasn't into it. I was on my phone a lot. I've been like the last 10 years, I feel like we've been spoiled as a fan base, except that Tampa year
Mhm.
where we've been winning. And I just want to ask a question. Do you think the fan base is ready for a rebuild?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I
how
do.
I feel. Based off how I was watching the games previous years, I was glued to my TV. I was just deeply into it, you know. Even as a family, we used to watch it. But just this year, I even forgot the game was even on at 6 p.m. Like, the soul is just like sucked out. And I know how Raptor fans can be. I know how it is. But the fact that we had an opportunity to tank and trade Van Vliet, trade Gary Trent with this Pirtle signing, as you can see my name, Tank Commander, I was full on ready for it. I don't know if the fan base is where I'm at. Is Masai like scared of his job security? I just really don't know what it is.
I think it could come down to just like I did a video. I recorded a video yesterday, and it was trying to explore the other side of it, right? Which is, why did they do this, and might it work? Like, is there a 1% chance that the Raptors could surprise anybody in the play-in? And honestly, watching tonight, it was like, oh man, I want to be hopeful so bad, but it's so hard to be hopeful, right? Because this
Yeah.
team has this, what I call self-inflicted wounds. And in that video, I explore why I am at least even 1% curious to see what happens in the play-in. And most of it has to do with Scottie, because I just think that what we've seen from him in the fourth quarters this year, right? What we've seen with him when the cards are on the table, even last year in the playoffs, first game in the playoffs, he comes out nearly a triple double, then he goes out with the injury. But I got to tell you, man, Fred VanVleet goes out in that fourth game, we come back.
Let's not say that name around me, man. Another thing, I had Van Vliet in my fantasy league this year. He was
Oh,
my
boy.
third pick in fantasy. I don't know if you play fantasy.
I don't.
And my God, Van Vliet was terrible for me. He literally was single-handedly ruining my team. And I tried to trade Van Vliet in fantasy league. Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him. You know? That's how bad
Honestly,
his field goal percentage was. But
people
sorry to cut you off.
yeah, people need to listen to like the NBA show on The Athletic. The way that they talk about the Raptors is wow. Like, they talk about us the way we as a fan base talk about the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not
Oh my
kidding.
God. Oh my God.
Like they were talking about the Celtics falling apart right now, and they're like, do Atlanta or Toronto scare you in the playoffs? And this
Not a
person who
chance.
covers the Celtics was just like, it'll be easy work. And then someone says, but they got Jakob Pertl. And then they all laughed and said, well, then maybe it'll be a gentleman's sweep. And I was like, yo, the disrespect is criminal, but also fair. The Celtics are, a top 5 defense and a top 5 offense, even after falling apart a little bit. Now there are 3 teams that are top 10 defenses and top 10 offenses. I believe one of them is definitely the Cleveland Cavaliers. One of them
Uh,
is the Boston Celtics, and I believe the other one is God. I
Sixers.
think it might be the Sixers or the Bucks.
Sixers. Yeah,
It's the Sixers. So I was like, my God, we're gonna face one of those teams.
it's gonna be a bloodbath.
So there's 3 contenders in the entire NBA, and that's going to be the team you face in the first round, and that's what you gave all this up for. So yeah, I understand the frustration, but there's a part of me that just wants to see Scottie take over a series. Win, lose, or draw, I don't give a shit. I want to
Hmm.
see this guy drop 25 points in a series. And you know what? If he doesn't, then I want to see him not do that. I need to see who he is in a
Yeah,
situation because I got to tell you, the Raptors, in my opinion, if there was a stat for self-inflicted wounds, this would be the team that leads the league in self-inflicted wounds. And by
oh yeah.
self-inflicted wounds, I mean simple shit like not calling out a screen, not getting back in transition, taking a dumbass shot when there's a way easier pass open to a streaking guy up the court. There's so
It
many
has to go
self
with team chemistry and communication.
look
There's
teams
they're not
beat
talking, you
yeah,
know?
absolutely. Like I mean when you watched I've talked about it before, but you watched the championship team. Oh man,
Oh
the
yeah.
talking.
Because
Kyle Lowry.
Lowry was doing the talking. Lowry was doing like 60% of the talking.
Lowry was a communicator. Gasol, he would not shut up.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard would talk a little bit. Norman Powell, like there's so many guys. Serge Ibaka, like
We had
and if
grown-ups.
some
We had grown-ups in the room.
we had grown-ups, right? But now, these guys, they don't talk enough. And when I saw Scottie getting really hyped up on the bench, so there was a YouTuber who released a documentary on Scottie Barnes. He's a
Uh,
YouTuber with 1 subscriber. But the documentary was surprisingly well researched. It has like 500 views. Google it for anybody after this video. You'll be surprised. And it shows this sort of trajectory of Scottie. It shows how he got to this point, how he went to a Lakers game versus the Heat with his dad, how he
yeah.
how he grew up and how he sort of bet on himself in a way, not to use the Fred VanVleet line of bet on yourself,
Oh,
but like how he worked so hard to get to this point and how he became like the most hated high school player in the country. People just hated his guts. And he just kept working through it, working through it, working through it. And it just reminded me that people have counted this guy out so many times in his life. And
so you ready to hand him the keys?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. One more question before I go.
Yeah.
I think we have to re-sign Van Vliet. I think we're gonna have to throw the bag at him. Like, come on,
What's the bag?
we
What's the
gave
bag?
away our first round pick. That
Give
means we're
me
going at least we're going for something next season. That's what I don't know. What's the bag? Because what would be a reasonable amount to give him? And like that's my thing. If we're gonna have to pay this guy 30 plus for the next 3 to 4 seasons,
mhm.
man, just put the nail in the coffin. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a problem. Um, yeah.
Um okay, so here's my refreshed view on that Jakob trade and that pick that was traded, 2024 pick. Okay, so when I first heard about the trade, I was upset, very upset, and
Me too.
I
Me too.
screamed "fuck"
Me too.
on the live, and people have never let me forget about it since that day. Okay, and then I doubled down by giving the trade a D because when I heard that it was a top 6 protected pick, I was very pissed off because as you just said, I'm very aware that the Raptors could be bad next year. Okay, here's where I now stand on this. Number one, the 2023 pick that I think got way worse. In my opinion, after watching March Madness, I'm seeing a lot of guys in that 10 to 15 range that could be as good as some of the guys in the 8 to 9 range. So, like the gap between 8 and 15 in some drafts is huge. In
Mhm.
this draft, it might not be that huge. Like every draft is different. There are some drafts that are like what like let's just say for instance, consider it like you play 2K?
Sorry.
Do you play 2K?
No, not really. No.
Okay, so imagine if every draft. Sorry, do you have to go?
No, sorry. Somebody just
Oh,
opened the
no,
door for somebody.
no worries. So if you imagine like every single draft is like there's a grade assigned to a prospect, and an A plus would be like a Tim Duncan, and maybe an a B minus might be like like a Jeff Green, right?
Hmm.
Something like that. So imagine if some drafts are like A plus, A, B,
Yeah,
C, C, D all the way through, right?
yeah.
But then some drafts aren't like that. Some drafts are like B, 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 B minus, B minus, C
Yeah.
minus. You know what I mean? And some drafts don't have a single B plus. Like, there's certain drafts like they just, or maybe the B plus is somewhere. My point is drafts flatline, peak, and what I'm finding is this draft is pretty strong from around pick 7 to pick 15, 16. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of good players in that range. And most likely that's where we're gonna pick. So hopefully we still get a good one. Second part is the 2024 draft pick that we got off of that's top 6 protected.
Hmm.
Everything I'm hearing about the 2024 draft is that it's terrible.
Really? Yeah. I don't know anything about the 2024 draft.
Yeah, so someone I talked to said that it was possibly the worst draft in 20 years.
Oh
So while
wow.
that may change, here's the thing. Let's say you do suck. Let's say look, play 2 timelines. Timeline number 1, you did what you did, which is you top 6 protected it. Timeline number 2, you didn't top 6 protect it, but you actually lottery protected it.
Hmm.
So let's say next year you finish 12th in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So then you get the 12th pick, right? When I say 12th, I mean 12th from the bottom. So you get the 12th pick. But
Yeah.
now, what if you suck the next year? Now you have to give up like the 13th or 12th pick in the 2025 draft versus maybe giving up the 8th or 9th pick in the 2024 draft. Do you know what I
Which
mean?
they said is going to be like not really strong draft.
Exactly. So if they already figured out that outside of maybe 2 prospects next year,
Hmm.
everything's kind of flat and it sucks and it's a bad draft, yo, like that's fine. Look, good GMs and good draft, good scouts, they map this shit out like years in
Years in
advance,
advance. Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And sure, shit changes all the time. 2021 was supposed to be generational. 2023, sorry, 2022 was supposed to be terrible.
Hmm.
2022 so far, Paolo looks great. Ben Matherin looks really good. Jalen Williams
Oh
looks
yeah.
awesome. So drafts change as things change, drafts change. But I'm saying if the Raptors know and believe their scouting work that 2024 is a terrible draft, maybe it's not the worst thing to not have a first round pick that year. You have a lot of young players. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I don't think bringing back Fred VanVleet's the answer, man.
Yeah, I know. I know. I just
Because
it's going to
once
be
you sign him
difficult.
to 30 million, yo, maybe someone doesn't want to trade for him, and then you're stuck with him. And then, yo, like, I
It's
don't
going to be
know.
my fantasy league all over again, where nobody wants to trade for him.
Oh my god.
That's literally
Yeah.
what happened to me out. That's with my eyes. Having a player in fantasy and watching them play, it really like pinpoints where they're really weak in. And I was just actually very shocked. I'm like, this guy's not a point guard. He's trying to be a point guard now, but he's a shooting guard, like
Hmm.
undersized two guard in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just a player that you can. I feel like you can draft that player easily, or you could trade for a player with his
Right.
skill set very similarly. And just
Hmm.
this trade deadline that passed, the fact that Masai just held on to his cards, I just blew my mind. And I was ready for the tank, man. I was literally ready to see tweet after tweet of saying this Raptor player was
You,
traded. Don't
you,
get me
you,
wrong.
for,
I
for,
love these
for,
players.
for
These are
real, like, you think we could have been worse than Detroit? You just watched Detroit, right? Wiseman,
I
Killian
watched
Hayes.
I watched
You and
Detroit.
me, you and me could probably score on that pick and roll. For real.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no, I agree. But man, I was just ready for the tank. And I felt like this was the season to do it, but who knows what the future holds. Man, yeah, but appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for coming on, man. First time caller, right?
Yeah, first time using this type of setup, man. I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty easy.
It's really easy. People have
Yeah,
been like, there's all these people like trashing me on Twitter, and someone's like, yo, I need to figure out how to get on this guy's thing, and I was just like, you will never figure it out. It's just fucking clicking a link. It's so easy.
yeah, it's easy. It just made it simple. I just thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be an echo or something, but no, I guess not.
No. You just to anyone who hears an echo, it's because you have YouTube on in the back. Yeah. Anyways,
Oh yeah.
cheers, man.
All right, man. Take care.
Have a good one. Okay, next up, I believe we have another first time caller, and I'm gonna give you a warning. It's Louis Notes. Louis Notes, what's up, man?
How's it going, Rob? First time
I'm.
calling here.
How you doing?
No, I'm not too bad. I just wanted to call in, give you some flowers. Been watching the show for about like I say December, maybe
Yeah.
even earlier. I couldn't put a time frame on it, but watch it for well over a couple months now, and I like your insight. I like your take on things. I love the audience. It's like to sit back and relax. I don't participate in the comments. I just sit back, smoke my spliff, and enjoy the after show of the Raptors game more times.
Yo, man, I appreciate it. Like, I went to the game today, and we're taking the elevator up to the Gondola suites, and this guy's like, "Hey, Pensari basketball," and I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, "Oh man, it's sad. This guy's either gonna throw an egg at me." I'm scanning for Fred VanVleet jerseys everywhere, yo. It's like a minefield. I'm just like, where is it gonna come from? And yeah, it's kind of a weird situation to go to Raptor games now because you do get recognized a lot, and I'm very surprised by it. Every time it happens, I'm like, what? Do I need to start going hoodie mellow? Like, I don't know, but it's been cool, man. Like the show's been well received, and I know the haters get very loud, but a lot of people, they message the flowers on in the DMs, and it means a lot to me, man. Like these seasons are not easy sometimes, like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of frustration and stuff. So I'm happy that, we can at least make some sense out of it together. And, I think it helps that when you're frustrated and everything you're hearing on the television is completely different from what you're watching on with your eyes,
For
is kind
sure.
of weird. So to have a community where we can all be like, you saw that too, right? Like we're not all crazy. Like we all saw
No,
that.
for
So
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, yeah. So what'd you think of the game tonight?
uh, Typical Raptor stuff. I mean, I don't want to really harp on anything you say because it almost sounds so redundant because everybody comes in and they call and they see the same thing. We all see how the Raptors are playing. It's not the typical type of basketball that we're used to. Because I've been watching the Raptors since I can remember, inaugural season. Been born, raised in Toronto, downtown. So I've been a Raptors fan forever. This is a general all those sports fans, but for my city, you go crazy.
Who's your favorite
Leaf
player of all
Raptors.
time? I'm very curious.
For the my favorite player in basketball all time is Penny Hardaway, but for the Raptors,
All right.
it would have to be Tracy McGrady, just off talent wise, and he was Penny's favorite. So I kind of had bias. Kind of had
So
bias.
I'm assuming you're a Scottie Barnes fan.
I like his talent. I honestly didn't because I like over the years I lost over watching college basketball and just picking up on people because you get older. I don't know if you'll get up there, but as you get older, you tend to zoom.
I'm pretty old. I'm 35, man.
I'm 39.
You got me to do about 4 years.
Yeah, so so as you get up there, you tend to like I don't want to say focus on things that's more important, but you just don't have the time for it. But I didn't really take in too much Scottie Barnes, but I like his talent. The kid's super talented. I think the team. I just watched the Raptors because the Raptors, but I think they just need to blow up the team and hand the keys over, as we all call in here to say. Most of us, they need to just blow the team up, get rid of VanVleet, get rid of Siakam. They did us our justice in helping us get the ring. It was a good team effort. It wasn't a Siakam or VanVleet effort. It was a team effort to get us the ring. And we
For
just need to
sure.
give the reins over to Scottie. I mean, like you were saying earlier, you see the prices for the tickets now. They're 130 something, almost 200 for a 300 level. So nobody wants to go there and pay that money to see Fred VanVleet and Siakam going crazy and not playing that team ball. It sucks to see a player like OG, who we watch grow from when he was like, he's still robotic from pretty even more robotic back in the days too. Now he has some fluidity in his game and his movement, and he's just getting better. You see his talent, but it's being restrained because the guys don't want to. It's like they don't want to give him the spotlight. And I never really saw that in the team until I started coming to the channel. And when you hear one thing and then you see it, you can kind of put it together for what it is. Like when I used to watch it, I just used to see that there was no cohesion. Like there was kind of like, I want to do me, but I didn't understand it to the extent until I started watching some Penn basketball and understanding it doesn't necessarily mean it was always that, but it also opened up my eyes to see like, yo, guys are gunning for a lot more than we don't see from the naked eye, like contracts and all NBA teams and things like that. They're just killing the chemistry and the young talent that we need to build.
It happens on a lot of teams, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
connectivity. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks just lost back-to-back games to the
Sad.
Charlotte Hornets.
Luka
Like
looks crushed.
what?
Yeah, Luka looks crushed.
I feel terrible for the dude because you can tell he really does care about winning. But I mean, you got Christian Wood on your team, and I was just so firm. How can you replace a guy who does care about winning and does the things right way, like Jalen Brunson, with a guy like Christian Wood? Like
Mm,
unbelievable.
mm,
I mean, there's certain guys in the NBA where I'm just like, honestly, that guy's gonna help you more if he stays on the bus. Christian Wood is one of those guys. It's a personal bias thing at this point with him, where it's like you cannot add that guy to a team and not feel the impact of his defense. And it was like it was a couple of games that I watched with the Rockets last year. I was very curious about their young guys, Alperen Şengün, Jalen Green, you know, Nate Dacian Nix. I like a lot of their young guys. And I will watch this guy go up and down the court and not do anything for anyone but himself on the basketball court. And that type of basketball drives me insane. Like, yo, if we're in a team, like I'm helping you score. I don't need to get credit for helping you score. I'm going to set a pick. I'm going to, you know, like dig my shoulder a little bit heavy into it. Like there has to be some intention for us to score. Like we as a team need to score. This is for the Raptors, you know? But when some guys get too individual, like they're, you know, and sometimes you see it at the end of the game when a guy's like got like, I don't know, like 29 and 8 and he starts pressing for that final rebound, those final 2 assists. And he plays horrible. Like that, the 2 minutes, you're like, fuck my eyes. I just want to close my eyes because this is the worst basketball ever. Because you can just see, like, because basketball has to be a read and react game. And you can't decide beforehand, I need to get an assist on this possession. Otherwise, you're going to tank the offense. And that's kind of just how Fred VanVleet plays basketball at times. You know, he's like, this is going to be my turn to score. And I remember watching, you know, you're saying Penny Hardaway is one of your favorite players. Like this is like back in the 90s. I remember watching this very talented young man named Antoine Walker play with the Boston Celtics and Paul Pierce. And it was my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn basketball. It was very frustrating to watch. And you were like, my God, these guys are so talented. If they could just ever come together and get over their egos. And it just never happened for those guys. And eventually Paul Pierce, you know, became a winner and Antoine Walker went to the Dallas Mavericks. But like, it was very weird to see how those two couldn't quite figure it out. And I guess sometimes, you know, you just have to get over yourself. And to me, it's pretty apparent that Scottie's already over himself in a lot of ways. I observed something very interesting at halftime today. I thought you might be interested to know about it. It's because, you know, just sometimes you go to the game, you see things that you wouldn't see at home. So at halftime, Fred VanVleet comes out of the tunnel by himself.
Oh, they showed that.
They showed it?
They actually showed him walking out. He was touching a little fan, but he showed him walking out the tunnel by himself.
Yeah, he walked out by himself. So obviously the rest of the team was still in the back. He walked out by himself to get some shots up. So he goes up and, you know, he starts putting up some layups. He starts doing the little 2-hand drill that we used to do underneath the basket. Then Malachi comes out. Then Ron Harper Jr. comes out, and then I think Christian Coloco came out. So it's just him basically hanging out with the G Leaguers. And eventually Malachi Flynn became his ball boy, effectively. He was just, Fred VanVleet was shooting shots. Malachi Flynn was rebounding and passing him the ball. And suddenly everyone comes out slowly. They're trickling out. Pascal comes out with Jakob. OG comes out with Thad. You know, they just come out slowly. And the whole time I'm just like, where the fuck is Scottie Barnes? Like, he's nowhere. Like, I can't see him. I'm like, oh my God, did the wrist activate at halftime? What happened? And suddenly, like, the referees are getting the ball ready and everything. Like, we're ready to start. I'm like, where is Scottie? Is he not playing? I'm looking around. And then he comes out of the tunnel, takes off his warm-ups, and gets right on the court. Like, his whole team was shooting around, and this guy just comes straight out of the tunnel, warm-ups off, and right onto the court. So I was just like, yo, what? Was he getting treatment maybe? I don't know. Was he getting the wrist rewrapped? I don't know. Was he taking a shit? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it was very interesting to just observe that. And even on the bench, you see sometimes when, like, OG, let's say for instance, OG takes a seat after, because I used to notice this on the bench with me too, like when I would play basketball. You play basketball?
I used to.
Right?
I went to Eastern Commerce, used to.
All right. You were good then.
Decent.
So, did you Jamal McClure played for Eastern Commerce, right?
Look, he was I think he was just coming out, and I think he was in because, you know, back then in school days they had was it OAC? I think it was called OAC. Yeah. The extra year, yeah. OAC. So I think he was in OAC when I was coming in, or he was his last year.
That's great, man. Yeah, Eastern Commerce whooped us so bad.
Yeah, I was my class was like with Rock, Jermaine Anderson, Ola Maddie, those guys. Like that.
Yeah. I remember watching a young Javon Shepherd. It's so cool to see him now playing basketball. DeVoe Joseph, Corey Joseph's brother. Yeah, man. Toronto Hoops was the thing.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, it was natural back then. I had a question I want to ask you too. It was based off of where do you think this thing came in with Fred VanVleet and Siakam in terms of feeling like obviously Kawhi left and they had to, but then they had to feel like they had to step up. But when Kyle Lowry was there and even before Kawhi came, I don't want to say they knew their role or roles changed, but like they just played a better brand of basketball. They looked like they were happy to be here. Like I think it was a couple of streams ago you were talking with somebody. It wasn't a game. It was just a stream. I think you're talking with Leo. And you guys were just talking about how like it just slipped off my tongue. But pretty much he's pressing, and I don't understand why he's pressing like that. Obviously the paycheck, the paydays, but do you think it's just that, or he's tired of winning? He won the ring now, and it's just about I want to get paid, I want to take care of my family, and
Pascal?
both of them, because I thought after Pascal had that shaky season in the bubble, he would come back and just be grateful to actually still be that talented of a player that he can, defend. Not even grateful, but just that be talented a player to know that he didn't fall off. Because a lot of people fell off after downward spirals, like Nick Anderson missing free throws, never the same, or just certain players like they just fall off. So I feel like they take Toronto for granted. Like I feel like a lot of basketball players take Toronto for granted. They come here and they think, okay, I'm gonna be able to get 20 shots, make myself look great, get that contract, and see you later. And I feel like it ruins the culture of a lot of the players. Like we have such a talented player in Scottie Barnes and Christian Coloco, a lot of young guys.
When Pascal was on Serge Ibaka's "How Hungry Are You?" and Serge asks him, "How did you feel about when you heard that Kawhi was leaving?" You're expecting the best player in franchise history. No disrespect to Vince Carter, but Kawhi easily the best player in franchise history. After y'all just won a ring together. If that was my teammate and he left, now granted I'm not some alpha scorer who thinks I'm him, but like seriously, I'm a person who wants to win. I'd be like, honestly, I was crushed, but we move on. That would be my response. What did Pascal Siakam say? 20 more shots. That's what he said. Verbatim. Go look it up. Fred VanVleet, what did he say? He says, well, I guess I can be I can be the person that they market now. That was his quote. Both of these guys divvied up that Kawhi cash for themselves. And you don't think Kawhi knows that about these guys? You don't think Kawhi knew that when he was here? Kawhi's a real one. Like Kawhi could see through guys like so easy. And it's like I heard so many stories about Kawhi when he was here because I knew someone who was pretty close to him, and it's very difficult to know anyone who's close to anyone who's close to Kawhi because he kept his circle really small. But I heard such crazy shit about him. But like he was, for one thing, he was a very authentic dude, and he kept it 100 with you. So like if he didn't like you, he would just go up to you and be like, "I don't fuck with you." That's it. You don't talk to Kawhi for the rest of the year. And I love that about him. Like I do, because I think Scottie's kind of the same way. And that's why I like both those players. And look, just the very idea of 20 more shots, this mentality is never going to jive with me. Never. It just doesn't work. I get where it comes from. It's the culture of the NBA. Look, I'd be crazy if I didn't tell you like this is about money. Of course it's about money. And the money has to be a part of it. I'm not ignorant to it as I flash this generous super chat on the screen here. Big shout outs to SH. Rob listened to a previous live stream regarding how other hypocrites tried to take you down. It's okay, it's part of the game as long as you keep your integrity intact and you'll be all right, my man. One love, one. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I mean, I get that money's going to be a part of it, and it's always going to be a part of it, and take care of your family and all that stuff. I'm never going to be one of those people who's counting other people's paper and saying like, oh, you shouldn't. No, of course, fuck, get paid. Everyone who's great at what they do. I mean, like, I'm not ignorant. Like at the time when LeBron James was the greatest basketball player in the world, was he actually making even a fair salary for what he was doing? Shit, no, he's added way more value to the NBA than they've ever paid him. And that's true for a lot of superstars. I don't think Vince Carter was fairly compensated. Michael Jordan was definitely never fairly compensated other than by Nike maybe. So I get it. Like player empowerment, these owners have gotten fat and rich for long enough. And quite frankly, I'll pretty much always side with the players when it comes to players and ownership. But not at the expense of the fucking game. Like do it within the confines. Like we're going to take it this far, but that's the line. Like I'm going to be assertive and I'm going to make sure that I drop 30 this year, but I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to make sure that we win. You know, it's okay to have individual goals. It's great to come out and say, I want to be the MVP of the league. That's great. You know, I think Michael Jordan wanted to be the MVP. Of course he wanted to be the MVP. You want to think he was scoring title. You don't win a scoring title by accident, but there's a way to do it. That's like, it's okay, you know, and then there's a way to do it that just makes you want to poke your eyes out. And that's kind of like, I don't know. I see Fred and Pascal. I'm trying to divide them in my mind a little bit, you know, because the last caller, I mean, you know, in the lane, you know, specifically, he was just like, yo, Pascal's different. Like he always tries to own up for his stuff. He tries to come out and he didn't turn on the fan base. He always says after a bad game, I need to be better. So he's not quite Fred level of crazy toxic, you know, like younger guys. So maybe, you know, you remove Pascal, you know, you remove Pascal and Fred off the same team, and maybe they both change. They both get, you know, better, and maybe Pascal can gravitate to his new best friends, Scottie Barnes, O.G Anunoby, and Jakob Poeltl. I don't know. It'd be difficult to lose both of them in the same season. I think I wouldn't. Obviously, if I was a GM, they'd be gone like 2 years ago. But you know, if they both go this offseason, fine. But if one of them had to go, I would definitely pick Fred to go. Even though I think, you know, for sure Fred fits better with Scottie and, you know, all that stuff. But he's chosen not to fit in better because he wants his numbers. And it's like they both play the same position. They're both point guards. They really are. Like some people don't want to believe Scottie's a point guard because he's built like a linebacker, but he is a point guard.
Or he has a vision. It's a point guard's all that. To me, being a point guard's about vision. I remember in public school, just a quick story. Rest in peace to my coach Robert Winslow. I was always had some height. So in public school, I was 5'9". In public school, I was pretty big in Canada, so that they had me at a power forward. But I came into school grade 7, threw a couple bounce passes. My coach grabbed me to the side and said, "Listen, your IQ, the way you pass to the court, I'm plugging you in at PG." And we had a PG at our team at the time. It was typical 5'3", could pass, could dribble, shoot the ball. But he's like, "I'm going to plug you in. You're going to play alongside him. The way you see the court and pass." So to me, it's not about size. Like you said, it's just about this vision. Scottie, he's an extremely smart player, mature. And I think that's what's eating him up this season. So you can fit that guy in anywhere. But like you said, his natural position is a point guard. And I feel like you should let him play that. That's why we need to get rid of the guys.
I 1000% agree with you, man. Like to me, it doesn't matter. You should run your offense through your most selfless, smartest player. You know, like whoever wants to do the best thing for the offense at all times. And honestly, it's like when you have Jakob Poeltl on the court, who's a non-shooter, you can't have a non-shooter spacing for him like Scottie, and he's shooting 29%. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers have 2 non-defenders in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and 3 non-shooters in Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, and Jared Allen. And to me, that's kind of what makes them vulnerable in the playoffs. Is, you know, that's 2 things. And I'm like, the Raptors have almost the exact same profile. But if Pascal and Scottie can start hitting some threes, they could be all right. Like this team could be like sneaky scary in a single playoff. Like, there just aren't a lot of teams that can do what this team can do defensively if they put their minds to it. But it's just they haven't consistently done it. Like that game against the Sacramento Kings, if they could bottle up that defensive energy, they might win a championship. But they haven't. And it seems like, to me, it's like this. You know what I liken it to? Like a heavyweight fighter who's so good he punches himself in the face 17 times before every single fight.
Get himself jacked up. It's like that clip in football.
It's just like, yo, like you could actually win some of these fights if you don't knock yourself out. You know, like you might be able to actually win some of these. But it's like the self-inflicted wounds of this team are insane. Like when you start breaking the game down slowly, especially when I went today and I was starting watching like the one individual player after another, because that's like what you don't get to see on TV, you know? And people get distracted by the ball when they're watching basketball. It's like constantly their eyes are always going towards the ball, as they should. But when you really want to understand the game, in my opinion, watch a single player. Like the whole time, just watch Jakob Poeltl for like 5 minutes. Whether he has the ball, doesn't have the ball, offense, even just watch Jakob Poeltl. Or just watch Scottie, or just watch Jeff, or just watch Fred VanVleet. But even has the ball, I think so much of basketball is about not looking at the basketball. And
just everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, just watching the game tonight, it was so eye-opening live from that vantage point, just being able to see how these players are moving. And I'm just like, my God, one adjustment here, one very difficult conversation that needs to happen between these 2 guys, and this could turn around. But it's like the runway is running out, man. This team is running out of runway, and they're like 8 games, 7 games, whatever is left in the season.
It's tough. I just want to see them blow it up because even like if we have to, I don't want to say get rid of Messiah. I don't, but I think we just need to take a hard look at the drawing board this offseason. I don't want to see playing. I don't want to see playoffs. I don't like the need where people saying, "Oh, the experience." There's no
Is Nick
experience if
Nurse
we're not going to
gone?
keep this same core. There's no point. If
Is
Van
Nick
Vliet's going to
Nurse?
go,
What about Nurse?
no, Nurse's time's up. I was never really fond of Nurse. I thought he was a creative mind. It took defensively with the talent he had to like we put people in position, played the boxing one on Steph in the finals. This he was made the wall on Giannis. He's good defensively. I think a great assistant, but he just doesn't have it. I was seeing it from the bubble. He just doesn't have that command. I don't look like the player's respected voice. You know, I think the championship ring helped them respect him, but anything else they didn't. Like I don't think they ever respected the voice. Like
I agree with you. It's taken me a really long time to look past him because like I'm a bit of a basketball nerd, and obviously Nick Nurse knows this game so well. But there's
Smart
so
man.
much to coaching that goes beyond schemes and stuff. Like that's assistant shit, you know.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like so much of being a head coach is like being a
A
personality
leader.
manager, right? And a leader, and someone that honestly just is a straight shooter. Mike Brown did this amazing thing with his team. Have you heard about it? He got them to sign contracts for their roles for the Sacramento Kings.
No, I never heard of it. I never heard of it.
And it's just like when I listen to Mike Brown, I'm like, I could really, I could spend a year in a locker room with this guy.
You
He
should be able
feels,
to.
yeah, he feels real. Like he feels like he is about what he's about. And like controversial or not, like Ime Udoka probably is about what he's about, you know. Mark Jackson, all the religious stuff, he's
I
about what
wanted
he's
Mark
about.
Jackson. I
You
wanted
wanted
Mark
Mark
Jackson. I want Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson will help. Like just I think he's what the team needs. You know, no bullshit. No, we're not gonna sugarcoat anything. I think he's what the team needs. Like tough Siakam and Van Vliet think they're gonna chuck that shit if they're still here with Mark. It's not going down like that. You guys can see what the end of the bench tastes like.
Honestly, everyone else has tried. Might as well give Jesus a chance, man. Because honestly, this team needs some
Like
team needs some God in its life.
Like I like Mark. I think Mark gets discredited for the Warriors too. I feel like people say I give Steve Kerr a little bit of credit just to go off topic a little bit, but I feel like that team they won with maturity, not necessarily coaching. I feel like they were losing with Mark, but as they're getting older, it's like when they hit that age, they just took Mark away, and everything they learned from Mark, it kind of just. I feel like I don't know. Steve's okay, but Steve got out coached by Nurse, and he gets out coached a lot. So it's like he didn't know what to do when Nurse put Steph in the box and won.
I feel like a lot of people would get out coached if you lost KD and Klay Thompson in the same series, though. For real, though, right? Like I think that's fair. I think Kerr's been good. I think a lot of the ego management stuff, but I also like Mark Jackson a lot. Like I do as a coach, and even now when I listen to him talk, I still respect the man. I've always respected him. But I'm a weird person, and I respect Jeff Van Gundy, and I'm pretty sure
we're all weird in our way. Don't you love Van Gundy for hanging on to Alonzo? You gotta love Van Gundy. He was out there for his players. You gotta love him for holding on to Alonzo's ankle. Who doesn't love Van Gundy?
Oh my God, have you seen the shit? Do you remember those the zone basketball? The Game of Thrones parody for the basketball.
No, I haven't watched the Game of Thrones, unfortunately.
It's not Game of I think it's called the Game of Zone. They did basketball parodies. So there's one on Jeff Van Gundy, and it's absolutely hilarious. Definitely Google
it. Is it that cartoonish style stuff?
Yeah.
Okay,
where they go to Isle of Van Gundy, and then Stan Van Gundy tries to trade for Blake Griffin. It's hilarious. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for calling in, man. It's a really good.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure. I thought I was gonna be nervous hitting up the channel, but it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks a lot, man.
No problem, man. Have a good night.
See ya. Bye. Next up, we got NSN. What's up? You got to turn on the mic, man. Your mic's off. Unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, hello, Rob. I was listening to the podcast for almost since November, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it was quite cool. It's quite good to understand of why this is going on, why this is not working, and trying to improve. Really appreciate the insight and the numbers. I loved the video from the shot map. You made a video 2 weeks ago to understand why Pascal taking this shot, Fred's taking this shot, trying to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it. I'm a casual. I'm gonna just tell you honestly, I'm a casual, and I'm more of a soccer person. I started with soccer in my life, and then I went to Canada and I spent time with basketball. So I appreciate it.
I've
I have
always
the question.
appreciated when someone can say they're a casual because it usually shows me that they're not a casual. Usually, that's
Uh,
usually how it works. Most casuals would swear they're diehards, and yeah, like that's just my opinion. But anyway, sports are related. Like I think when I watch soccer, I was not a very good soccer player at all. I didn't make my grade six team. I was terrible. I think I have two left legs or something. But somehow, like playing basketball made me better in soccer, and vice versa. And I find that playmaking is playmaking, seeing things as angles develop and stuff. And when I'm watching Leo Messi play, I'm
yeah,
definitely seeing
the
shades of
vision.
Magic Johnson and Steve Nash, in what he's doing. So I see parallels in all sports.
Yeah. My favorite in the Barcelona is Iniesta. Iniesta is just an amazing player.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was a big
uh,
Del Piero fan growing up.
Del Piero.
Yes,
Damn.
Alessandro Del Piero, yeah.
Juventus. Yeah,
Yes,
I
Juventus.
hope they do well, Juventus, and what's going on there. They were amazing for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's Napoli. Anyways, I have like two questions. I was looking at the Fanspo website once in a while, and I'm trying to kind of get an idea of what's going on. There was this crazy idea. Can I throw the idea to you and see what happens?
Sure.
Yeah. Um, it's this idea for I don't like the idea, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just OG for the number 2 pick this year. I don't know, man.
I love OG, but I probably do that.
Oh man, yeah. The timeline with Scoot and Scottie is amazing, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Honestly, I would probably, do everything I could to not move him. Like I might move everything but him, except for him and Scotty. Like I would like to keep him and Scotty together. It feels like they vibe so well. And they fit so well. And honestly, so much of why I am potentially even like 5% excited about the play-in is because of these two. I just feel
okay.
like these two in a big do or die situation, like they're not going to let you down. Like they're going to guard their ass off. And good luck if you're the opposing team trying to score on these two when they're dialed in for one
Yo,
game, 40 minutes, do or die. I'm not betting against OG and Scotty.
the
Yeah,
last 2 games or last 3 games before the Pacers game, OG was like it was a different. It was just lights out. So I hope it's worth it. Whatever the plane was supposed to be, like I hope I don't know they show us something great and it's for them I guess. But maybe Nick Nurse, maybe Fred, may be there next year. Maybe he won't be. So I don't know. We don't know. About the last caller, about Game of Zones, Bleacher Report made another one with the anime one. I think it was pretty cool. So yeah.
yeah.
So that was my two things I want to talk about, just the Game of Zones things and the
Are you're
idea.
first? You've called in before, right? But you didn't have
Yeah.
a camera on.
Hmm.
You didn't have the camera on last time.
No, I didn't have the
Okay.
camera on
It's
that
so
time. I
cool.
was
Today everyone's turned their camera on. I don't know what's going on, but it's so much nicer and so much easier to talk to people when they actually turn their cameras on.
yeah.
I've never asked anyone to turn their camera on because it could be really intimidating. Just being on a show like this and just then turning into a meme because you say something crazy or whatever. It's
The
not for the
risk.
faint. It's not for the faint of heart, man. Like Coach Mo, Coach Mo, right? If you listen
Yeah,
to his channel,
I hear him
so
a lot.
he was on the show and he was talking about how maybe the defense would get better with Precious. And
Hoping.
they went at him on Twitter hard. They were like, "Who is this guy? This guy's callers are all casuals, etc." So look, it's to
Yeah.
me it's cool. Like I think what we're building up here is really cool, and it's really nice to put a face to some of the the names that are in these messaging boxes. It's very cool, man. So thank you so much for calling in.
I have to say one more thing. Yeah,
Sure.
it's really a risk, and I want to know. You already did something like that before, right? So
What?
it's easier for you, right?
Something like what?
I think you had some knowledge in just like creative. You also make videos. You also
Well,
make
I'm a filmmaker.
those.
I mean, I'm a
Yeah,
filmmaker, so I mean, I had a leg up naturally. I was a writer, basketball writer, so I had a leg up there. I have a degree in stats, so I have a
yeah,
leg up there. So there's a lot of competitive advantages that kind of bubble together. And I've done a lot of graphic design work, which definitely helps with the thumbnails and stuff. So I'm just kind of using a lot and obviously I'm a huge basketball fan and I played the
I
game and
appreciate.
and I appreciate the game and
You
you know
put that to use for us. Put that to use for the Raptors, man. We
You know
appreciate it.
what? Honestly, man, like what happened was, and I mean, this is just me being very sincere. This channel is often accused of being, like a very, very, pro Scottie. And of course, we're pro Scottie. Stupid. I don't think I don't like basketball. Of course, I'm pro Scottie. But one of the biggest things was that when Vince was getting dogged by the media here, I hated what was happening to him.
He's
I
a gold
really
team.
did. And I've seen it happen to a few players in the past where like the media just ripped them apart and I thought it was unfair. Like sometimes it's fair. Maybe it's a little bit fair. Like they're doing something really bad to the team and far be it from me to tell you that one guy doing something bad to 16 guys is okay. Like I get it. But sometimes it's not fair, like like the media ripping on Vince's mom and shit and talking like that stuff never
Yeah,
sat right with me,
I heard about
his
that.
parking spot and they just didn't like him, and after a while I guess he didn't like them and the thing just kind of went sour and I wished at that time that something like Pensar basketball existed so that people could just be reminded like, hey man, this guy's a real dude. He's doing all this community service for you guys. He loves this city. Stop booing him. Like for
He's
10 years
impressed.
I had to listen to this fan base boo Vince Carter and as these people spread lie after lie after lie to save face because that was the whole thing. They were embarrassed at the return they got for him and they had to do damage control and the only way to get the fan base off of them and onto him was to spread lies about him. So they spread lies about him. They said he quit on the team. They said he sold them out. He told the other team plays. And he's denied this to this very day. And I feel like Vince Carter is a great redemptive story in stay who you are, the truth will come out.
Yeah, he has this job. I
They
think he
called him
was
they
with.
called him injury prone. Look at the rest of his career. NBA Iron Man. They said he
Yeah,
didn't love basketball. Dude played basketball till he was 43 years old or 42 years old. Who doesn't love basketball? He didn't need the money. He loves basketball. So all these things that they said about him, and I wish there was someone there who was bold enough, brave enough, and smart enough at that time to challenge. I was just, I was too young, to be honest. I was 13, 14 years old. Who's going to take me seriously on message boards? So I just created something like
yeah,
that
like,
so that when something like that would eventually happen to Scottie, because I see a lot of the same stuff in Scottie that I did in Vince back then, it's sort of the individual mindset of like, I'm a free thinker, I'm not a politician, I'm kind of my own person. And I'm like, yo, people like that always get killed by Toronto media. And I'm going to make sure that there's a voice to challenge it whenever that happens. And right when Doug Smith started saying he didn't work hard, I was like, bam, this is why this channel exists. Fuck you, Doug Smith. And it's changed. I haven't heard anything about it. So I was like, yo, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was like, yo, we won. I don't care about all the hate. We won. People stopped talking about Scottie didn't work hard. Scottie didn't do this, that.
it took some time though.
It took some time, but we got Blake to come on, and suddenly we got everyone to shift. I think we
That's
got
good
people to
news.
shift. So, yeah.
That's good news. I just wanted to hear from you more about the OG news and the Scoot thing. Oh my God, that took my head. I really want them to play together and see what happens in a couple of years. I think we could be great.
Hmm.
So I threw the idea out, and I'm happy I did that. And it's good news that the I guess it's not like too negative towards Scotty now. It's like more normal towards Scotty now
He
on
hasn't
the
had a great
radio.
year. I'll admit that he has not had a great year, and by expectations, he has not had a great year. But so often it's not how you start; it's how you finish. And there's some time. I didn't love the game from him tonight, but let's give it some time. He's coming back, so look. But we'll call it an ace and ace. If he didn't have a great year, we'll say he didn't have a great year. But I
It's the
trust him
second
to put
year.
in the work. I think there's a lot going on with this team. Like behind the scenes, everything that's happening with this team. I know some stuff I'm not allowed to say. I don't know some stuff that maybe I'll find out later, but it's not good. And I've seen a lot of teams go through chemistry issues and everyone suffers, right? Everyone suffers. And I don't think Scotty's any different from that. But let's see, because look, last year the Boston Celtics started at the season terrible. They ended the season probably the best team in basketball, right? So
You
it's
can take
very
time.
easy for teams ebb and flow throughout the season, right? The Raptors haven't really been able to put a consistent run together. I was thinking that this Jakob Bertel trade might be a catalyst for that. It hasn't been. They've been pretty much 500 with him. However, what if they
Yeah, it's
find
cool.
something, like it's maybe this team is a team meeting away from finding sustainable basketball. And I think at the end of the day, all you need is to face a team that's worse than their standing as you are way better than your standing. And maybe it'll be competitive. I don't know. I'm not saying this team could beat anyone in the first round, but I'm saying, like, would I want to see 6 competitive games against Boston as some guys maybe, shine and other guys, shoot 2 for 10, 2 for 12, 2 for 18? Yeah, it'd be nice to see, you know? I don't know. It'll
Yeah.
be interesting.
But honest, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rob.
All right, and thanks a lot for calling in, man. Appreciate it. Cheers. And final caller, your goat. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up, man? I didn't know you liked Del Piero, man. That guy was a baller back in the day.
Aren't you 16 years old?
Bro, I'm trying to be a football manager. I'm literally studying for that. I love football so much. Like, I do analyst work. I love football. Del
Oh,
Piero in
that's
the
cool.
Champions League was one of the best midfielders ever in the Champions League. But
Yeah.
yeah. But one question I do want to ask you. You went to the game tonight, right? In person?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, how was your experience, like the difference between watching it on the basketball on television and seeing it in person? Because the last time I went to a basketball game was Pistons versus Cavs playoffs back in 2016. So I just wanted to ask, like, how was the experience?
It was interesting. I
Hmm.
honestly I wasn't sure how I was feeling going into it. Partly because I didn't know if Scottie was gonna play, and I had heard that Beal and Kuzma were out, and I was like, shit, am I gonna watch, Fred and Pascal take 35 shots tonight? Like, damn, like that's not gonna be fun watching OG, do cardio. But then suddenly I'm looking up at the scoreboard. Scotty's got 4, OG's got 8, and I'm like, yes, sir. Like I'm here for this, and it was cool. It was really different from I don't know if you saw the video that I posted where we were like 2 rows back from and we got to see everything like from floor level and super close.
Hmm.
That was wild, and that was very interesting just to observe the speed of the game. Um, from this vantage point, which is like more like straight down center middle, it was more like you're sort of seeing the flow of the game. You're not seeing the speed of the game as much. You're seeing the flow of the game,
Hmm.
and sort of like when you look at anything top down, as you know with a chessboard, right? You get a very unique vantage point on it. So it was fantastic to see it from this angle. I'd never seen the game from box seats ever in my life, so I'm
Hmm.
really thankful to Adam for gifting those tickets, and I'm really happy I got to attend, and I sucked it up, and I went on 2 hours of sleep, and yeah, I'm really happy. It was cool, but yo, the seats were like, it was depressing how many empty seats there were. It
Hmm.
was crazy, and I understand it's a Sunday night against the Wizards. Maybe some people didn't show or whatever, but yo, on the TV, it's probably gonna tell you it's a sold out game, but it
Yeah.
didn't sound like a sold out game. There was like one person in our section that started saying defense, and then everyone just looked around him like, are what? Like, are I'm triggered, like what the hell? So I mean, it was the energy was not what it used to be, man.
Yeah.
It's not. The place is a ghost town, and I'm reminded of Bobby Webster saying, um, it's a party every night in Scotiabank. It is not. It is not. I've been to 2 games now. Granted, against the New Orleans Pelicans without Zion and against the Washington Wizards without Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. God damn it, load management and injuries are killing the NBA. But yes, like it has
Well.
not been fun. And I imagine that the atmosphere would be a little bit different if the Raptors were competitive and they were facing off against like a really good team or a
Mhm.
really good player. I think Raptor fans are like very star hungry.
Yeah.
Like they like someone to root for and someone to root against. So, when Vince Carter comes to town or Tracy McGrady comes to town, the game's lit because they're just spending all their energy booing that one guy. And if LeBron is in town, it's like the game is lit because they're spending all their energy like just being afraid of what that guy's going to do to them in the fourth quarter. So I feel like, that one individual, but also like when Vince was here or when Kawhi was here, it's like you're just watching something brilliant, like individual. I think this fan base has a pretty individual mindset towards it. But also, I think this fan base can probably get around to cheering for a team that just plays really hard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like tonight when Chris Boucher would like, hustle for something, like you would see some energy come into the building a little bit. You see like a tip shot from Scottie Barnes or an offensive rebound, like a hustle play that you would nobody's cheering for these fucking mid-range buckets, man. No one.
Yeah. I mean
No one.
that's one of the other questions I was gonna ask you was how was the ambience, because I remember when I
Not
went to
great.
the
But the pizza
Pistons
was
game.
dope.
Really?
The pizza was dope.
That was so like when I watched a Pistons game on the television, I would, instead of really hearing the fans that much, I would sort of hear more like the defense, like the piano that they play. When I went to the actual game, and granted it was a playoff game, so the ambience was wild. Every fan was screaming and like a lot of great ambience, which is the difference in watching television. I would prefer going to a game, like a real game. For me, this is much more interesting in any sport. But I mean, was the game? I didn't watch the game, but was it entertaining in real life? In like when you went to the game?
No.
No, you should have
No.
went to a Pistons versus Raptors game. That's all.
I mean, honestly, it was entertaining because I entertained myself. I
Mhm.
played my own game like in my head, but like this number one, what makes basketball entertaining is watching something that makes you think. Like to me, like look, entertainment is different for different people, right? Like some people watch the Kardashians or Growing Up Gotti or whatever, or Jersey Shore, and they're like, wow, this is fucking entertaining. Some people watch TikTok reels for 6 hours. Wow, this is fucking entertaining. For me, honestly, like entertainment, it needs to take on like a more like I need to be watching something that's building up my understanding of the game.
Mm.
And honestly, this doesn't do that. The Washington Wizards do not play like the greatest brand of basketball, neither do the Raptors. This isn't exactly my brand of basketball or my taste in basketball. And frankly, I could probably watch, I don't know, like a couple of EuroLeague games and probably just get like way more out of
You
it.
should,
For real. Like
dude.
anyone
Like
anyone who
Euro.
wants to watch like EuroLeague, like just watch. I'm not telling you watch college basketball. Fuck college basketball. No.
Yeah.
I'm saying EuroLeague. Just go watch EuroLeague, or if you're not going to do that, go watch like really good teams play basketball. Like this isn't this
Hmm.
feels like this there's a lot of rec league shit going on.
Hmm.
So to me it's like if I'm not watching OG put up 50 points and cheering for that, and I'm not really sure what I'm cheering for on the season because I'm still conflicted whether I'd be happy if they win or lose. I don't know. This is a pretty interesting place to be as a fan because I honestly, if they lost tonight, I'd be like, yes. And if they won tonight, I'd be like, yes. But honestly, I am very much rooting for this team to pull it together. But I'm not concerned about wins or losses. I'm not concerned about record. I'm not concerned about seeding. What I'm concerned about is going into the final week of the season. I want this team to be playing its best basketball of the
Hmm.
season. And that's looking really hard to imagine now after watching the team live, just kind of seeing the connectivity between the guys.
But
There have been
yeah.
moments, very few moments, where this team has looked like it's come together around something. Tonight, just it didn't feel very connected at all.
Have you ever been to a real like live Euro game, EuroLeague game?
Yes.
Bro, I've been to two. I went to the final, for Fenerbahce versus Olympiacos. That was crazy. And then I went to Olympiacos game in Greece. Everyone, they had all flares. They were all jumping. Like the atmosphere is beautiful. And when you're watching great teams in the EuroLeague, it's so entertaining alongside with the ambiance. And that's one thing I'm sort of finding difficult to watch basketball. Is for me, I like defensive basketball, probably to do with 2004 Pistons. And I really like ambiance. And when I watch a Pistons game, there's barely anybody, and I have to watch Killian Hayes. So it, it's tough. But as you said, I would prefer to watch a EuroLeague game right now, to be honest, and watch a Pistons game. But
Fun fact. Okay. Not fun fact. Question. Very serious question. If we demoted the Detroit Pistons to EuroLeague for one season, do you think they win the EuroLeague championship?
We would make the final four, but we would not. We would not win. We could make the final four, but
Oh, thank
I don't
you.
know.
Bless your soul for being honest, man. Thank you.
But
It's
like
true.
I'm not delusional, dude. If like I think we could be a good team in the EuroLeague, but I don't think we're gonna win. Like no, we have Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes should not be playing basketball. It's
I
like
if I could be completely honest though, I think you guys might win the EuroLeague. Like if James Wiseman right now just decides fuck this NBA thing and just goes over to the EuroLeague, he would put up so many points. It's not even about individual talent. You put an NBA team, any NBA team in the EuroLeague, like the gap in talent is just going to overwhelm. The gap in
yeah,
athleticism. It's not the gap in
yeah.
talent. It's the gap in athleticism and size and youth. NBA athletes are completely different like animal when it comes to but I mean the EuroLeague is catching up.
But like
So I mean I
but
could be
like
wrong.
I've been watching this season. There's been a lot of talent, great teams. Real Madrid, Olympiacos, they're all been playing super well, and I think
I just
the
think if
ambiance.
your best player Bogdanovic goes over to the EuroLeague next year, he'll be one of the 10 best players in the EuroLeague. That's
When
what I'm saying.
he played in the EuroLeague before, and he was a great player, so I could agree with that.
Yeah.
But like, I think one thing that would affect it is the ambiance. I feel like it's a lot like soccer games. I feel like here in the U.S. there is some ambiance, but not as much as the EuroLeague, where there's fans screaming, cursing at you with flares, potentially gonna throw it in the court. I feel like that'll affect the Pistons players to a degree because as we said on the last show, we have no veteran leadership, we have no mentality and no
But y'all
style of play.
but y'all
So,
should be so used to war cuz you got all the tanks.
but like, dude, I don't think
That
we
was a
can win
terrible
any.
joke.
I
That did
don't.
not land.
I don't think we can win anything with Killian Hayes. So I mean, like, I think we can make the final four, but if we have players like that playing against top tier players in the EuroLeague, we could
What's
still.
What's more likely, Killian Hayes being in the NBA after 8 years, or you actually becoming a football manager?
Dude, I'm already a football manager, dude. I have my
Okay, well,
under 15 team,
hey, you're under 15.
Tepatitlan. That's my team. Under 15. Well,
Nice.
I'm assistant manager, but
Assistant? Are you assistant manager or are you
yeah.
assistant to the regional manager?
No, I'm an assistant manager, so I'm like the second
You
guy.
didn't understand the joke, but I hope someone in the chat did. Anyway, it's an office joke. It's an office joke, your goat. And I'm assuming you didn't watch The Office, did you?
We watched like a couple episodes, but not that much.
9 seasons. You need to watch at
You
least
you
seven
need to
of them.
watch South Park and not saying it's
I
okay.
need to watch South Park.
Yes, you do.
How, you
You
think I
do.
didn't watch South Park?
Or you said it was okay. I got so triggered that I played so well that I drew you. That's why, because you said South Park is okay.
I mean, it's all right.
Nah,
Do
it's
you feel
not,
better
bro.
about that? It's all right. It's all
No,
right.
it's even worse, dude.
Beavis and Butthead, man. That's where it's at. All right. All right, Yergo. Thanks a lot for coming on and
All right.
venting about Killian Hayes. As always,
Oh,
I
I
think
can vent even more. Don't worry.
Ki-
I'm holding back. Like people don't understand how much I really dislike this guy.
I can't tell you how irrelevant Killian Hayes is to Detroit fans, but I can definitely tell you he's even more irrelevant to Raptor fans. So I think maybe you serve like a very interesting cathartic purpose in our group, which
I think.
is that it's perhaps feeling like very sad to be a Raptor fan right now. But listening to how frustrated you are with Killian Hayes makes us all feel just a little bit better
Mhm.
because I think most of us can agree that as frustrated as we are with Fred VanVleet, he's not Killian Hayes. So
But he's very relevant to the Pistons though because we passed off of Tyrese Halliburton for
yeah,
this
that's in
guy.
the
So
past, man. You're living in the past. You got to look forward. A lot of teams passed up on Tyrese Halliburton. They
uh-huh.
all look stupid, and some teams even traded Tyrese
hmm
Halliburton. And I'm going to take a dig at the Kings for that. And I think eventually that will come back to bite them too. But
Of
um,
course, I mean that's in the past, but when we look at the situation now and how he's playing, putting up 30% field goal shooting, I mean it's definitely frustrating. But yeah, thanks
yeah,
for allowing me to vent. Um, maybe in the
apparently,
next
well, that's
few,
that's what the show's about. This is show's just
hey,
about
maybe in the
venting.
next few episodes you're gonna start venting about how I beat you in chess. You never know. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen one day. I'm not joking. It's gonna happen because I'm already 515. I won today. I won 2 games. So just watch out. Just watch out. That's all I'm saying.
All right, man.
I already drew against you, so the possibility of me winning, it is a possibility.
You
Just
lost
admit it.
40. You lost by 47 points, bro. Like you need to. All right. Peace, man. Have a good one.
All right,
Have a
have a
good
good
night.
night.
Yep. Smartest 16-year-old. All right. Well, I guess that does it for us. I'm gonna compile all the videos. My camera, honestly, like, yo, if you want to see the state of my phone right now, it's it's in pretty bad shape, okay? And my camera is pretty scratched up. But thankfully, my girlfriend's camera is amazing. Um, some of the video that we captured on her phone was incredible, and she's gonna airdrop most of that onto my Mac by tomorrow. So I should be able to edit up some stuff and be able to, show some diagrams. And I did record a video last night saying that, the Raptors have a shot and why they have a shot. And then I watched the game today and I'm like, should I ever even release that video? Because after watching this team in person, it feels like maybe they don't have a shot. But I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't count out a team with a healthy Scottie Barnes and a healthy O.G Anunoby. In a one-game series, I know some of us just want the season to be over, tank, whatever. It's too late for that. Okay, so we just got to come together as a fan base, and we just got to root for our Raptors. And yo, I got to tell you something. If you're part of an online forum and you get routinely harassed for criticizing the Raptors, yo, we're still here. We're doing this every single night. We're tuning in. We're paying attention. We're watching these games. This shit isn't for free. This is 6 hours sometimes of my life between preparing the live, doing the live, watching the game, downloading the scores and everything. This is like 6 hours of my life every second day to a team that I apparently hate, that I do not support. Like, what are you talking about? No, this is love. It's not pretty, but you can't possibly do this if you don't love the Raptors. How many content creators do you know that haven't released a video in like 3 weeks? We're doing this shit every single day. So look, people may not love what they're hearing. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. Um, but this is what it is, right? This hasn't been a season that most of us expected, right? But the fact that we're still here begging for this team to change, begging for this team to make moves, begging for this team to have deep conversations that need to be had, begging for changes, to me that shows that there's some love here. This must matter to us, because who would put themselves through this? Most people have tuned out. Let's just be honest. Most people have. Again, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at all the numbers, not our numbers. I'm looking at everyone's numbers. Look at the numbers. There's like 16, 17,000 people watching Raptors today when the season started. Where are those people? They're gone. They left in December. They have not come back. You know how many empty seats I saw today? You know how many people left at halftime? Wow. It's ghost town. And you don't think Masai Ujiri sees it? He sees it. Okay? And I had to tell you right now, change one variable, the whole shit changes. If Scottie Barnes is averaging 20 points right now, the whole shit changes. Right? And watching it tonight, it's not entirely on Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam that he hasn't taken this step. It's also on him too. He's got to own up to this. And part of it's injuries, yes, but he needs to be better. And the runway is running out. Okay, so Scottie Barnes, do not let your team down. Don't let your team lose. Yes, you are young. Yes, you are 21 years old. Yes, you are coming off a wrist injury. Yes, you had tendonitis and 2 ankle sprains. But you are the only person on this team who has a shot in hell of being the best player in a winning playoff series, in my opinion. The only player. You and OG. And so, in a play-in series against the Cavs, or it's not a play-in series against the Cavs, in a playoff series against the Cavs or the Celtics or the Bucks, do I want to just, am I the type of fan that wants to see a 4-0 sweep? No, I don't. I don't want to see that. I want to see a competitive series, and I want to see Scottie and OG take a massive step, and I want them to show the world that this is what happens. I do. I really do. And I hope Pascal plays well. I hope all these guys play well. I do. Like I'm over it. I'm over the deadline. I wasn't happy. Yeah, I wasn't happy with the deadline. Fine. But I'm over it. Okay? Now I just want to look at the next 24 months and say, whatever the fuck just this season was, don't do this to me again. Like, don't put my eyes through this again. Don't make me watch this style of basketball again. Don't put 6 in their prime or going into their prime players into situations where they all have to get a contract in the exact same year. Like, don't do that again. Learn from your mistakes and move forward. And you know what? Jeff Dowtin, that dude, when you see the videos on this guy, like, honestly, I'm so amazed. Like, it's not flashy what he does, but he's just so consistently right with what he does on the court. He's so consistently good and error free. I honestly believe, okay, this is going to be a hot take. If he was your starting point guard on opening night next year, or starting next to Scottie as the 2, where Scottie takes, his defense is so on point, yo. Like, he stays with his guy. Like, his point of attack defense is clutch. The fact that Will Barton is playing over him is insane to me, right? Like, Scottie, Jeff Dowtin, Precious, Koloko. There's a lot of guys. Koloko, his touch around the rim, that needs to get better. His strength, his touch around the rim. It's like, I watched a shot tonight where I think, who had the air ball? Was it Ron Harper Jr. who had the air ball, and then Christian Koloko rebounded and then put up an air ball put back at the end of the game? Was that it? I think that was it. What the hell? He needs to get better, but there's talent on this team. It's not being properly harnessed. But I believe that the groundwork has been laid. You just need to restructure. You need to reshuffle. And I think hopefully going into next season that will happen. A draft pick, maybe a free agent signing, maybe a trade. Tinker, but don't break it. Don't break everything. There are guys here who work. They're good. And I'm just looking around the NBA, yo. I'm looking around the NBA and I'm thinking of teams that have specific players. And I'm sorry, there are no teams with an embarrassment of wing depth, like switchable defenders on the wings, like Scottie Barnes, O.G Anunoby, Pascal Siakam if he decides to dial in, Precious Achiuwa. There just aren't a lot of teams that can do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the right hands, some of these players could be downright amazing. I think there's a reason that we're all so frustrated, and the reason we're so frustrated is because we have eyes, and we see that the team on paper is so much better than what has materialized in front of our eyes, and we're just wondering, why the self-inflicted wounds? Why does this team insist on consistently shooting itself in the foot? This is why Masai gets paid the big bucks. And I hope that he will make some very good decisions. And I hope that the playoffs and the play-in situation can give him whatever additional sample he needs. I look forward to releasing some of those videos. I hope they do not get copyright flagged, but I don't care at this point. It was so cool to watch, and yeah, I'm gonna take a look at them again. I want to probably watch the game from the television feed just to see what I missed from my vantage point, because obviously I was honing in on one specific thing, but I want to see the whole game again and see what I maybe missed, and I look forward to maybe some of those videos coming out. I want to say in about 2 days. I believe the next game up is Miami. Am I correct in that one? I could be wrong. What's the next game? Regardless, the Bulls won tonight, nipping at our heels. In all likelihood, the Raptors will be either 8th, 9th, or 10th in the play-in. And yeah, I'm here for it, man. We're gonna cover it. We're gonna break it down for you guys, and we're gonna see it. Eric, thank you so much. I am definitely going to get some sleep. I am downright exhausted. Anyways, I want to say thank you to everyone who has participated in the chat. Thank you to our callers. The callers were amazing tonight. And thanks to so many of you for turning on your camera. Sometimes I'm just staring at a black screen, and it's difficult. Like, I'm not saying it's difficult, but it's really different to put a face to somebody, and you can see the expressions and you can read tone a little bit better. Sometimes we're having like very, I think like it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we had that really terrible call-in show where like really lost it with a couple of guests. And I think, sometimes it was just not being able to see someone's face. One of the times I could see the person's face, but sometimes it's not being able to see someone's face can sometimes lead to a lot of miscommunication because a lot of communication is nonverbal. So sometimes it helps to be able to see body language, tone, eyes, etc. So it's really nice to put some faces to some of the names that are always, calling in. And yeah, really nice to connect with Raptor fans. And, despite my frustrations with the season, it was a really interesting experience to go to tonight's game. I learned a lot. So thank you to Adam for providing those tickets. I want to give a big shout out to Queensway Automotive Group. Thank you so much. I'm sure you guys are now seeing these guys on Raptors Digest, and you're seeing them on Raptors Republic, Leafs Digest. You're seeing them everywhere, and for good reason. They're supporting independent content creators who are doing what they think is good work, and thank you so much to them for supporting Pensar basketball and allowing me to do this because I love doing this and allowing me to do it without censorship. So if you need a car in your life, whether it's to sell a car, buy a car, relist a car, you just need information about cars. These are a group of young entrepreneurs in the Toronto area, in the GTA area. So definitely give them a call. Check the affiliate link in the description below. And if you haven't hit subscribe, please hit subscribe. I will very much appreciate that. Have a good one, guys. Have a good night. Oh, and thank you so much for the super chat. I believe it was SH. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. Thank you. I agree. Awesome callers. And yes, very kindly, please, please, please smash the like on your way out, guys. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Good morning, sir. Good night, your goat. You're toast. Send, you know what? I'm on no sleep, and you're gonna get killed. Okay, send me an invite. All right, peace.